This is section 4.3, Systems of Equations, the elimination method. Remember, there are three methods to solve the system of equations. This is our second algebraic method, and this method is a little bit quicker and basically easier than the other one, but the other one being substitution. But substitution is very mechanical. This one takes a little bit more creative thinking. So again, these are the instructions. Read them, think about them, write them down. Let's just kind of work some out. So here we have a system of equations, and we're going to solve it using the elimination method. And the key to the elimination method is you have to have either opposites in your x's or opposites in your y's. What I mean by that are the numbers in front. Right now we have 1x and 1x. 1 and 1 are the same, so they're not opposites. Here we have 1y and negative 1y. 1 and negative 1 are opposites, so we already have our opposites here. When you think of opposites, just think of if you add them together, will they become 0? Well, 1y and a negative 1y, that becomes 0. So this is the easiest version of the equation, of the method, because everything's done for you already. You already have your opposites. We're going to jump straight into adding these together. We're literally going to add the x plus x, the y plus negative y, and the 7 plus 5, and we're going to get a new equation that's combined out of the old ones. So x plus x is 2x. Y plus negative y is 0, so that just goes away. We have equals 7 plus 5, which is 12. That was very easy, and now we're actually on our way to solving for x right now. Just divide by 2, and you get x equals 6. That easy. Once you have a solution, just like last time, you can plug that solution into any of the original equations, either of them, and solve for the missing variable. I'm going to go ahead and take this x equals 6 and plug it into this x right here in the original equation, and the top equation. So we'll have 6 plus y equals 7. Right, that's the top equation with x replaced with 6. And again, solve this for y is really easy. Minus 6 minus 6. We get y equals 1. So we're already done. X is 6, y is 1. Here's our answer, 6 comma 1. This is the simplest version, or one of the simplest versions, of the elimination method. Okay, well, it's not always that easy, though, because in this case, not only do we not have opposites to start with, like 5 and negative 2 or negative 7 and 2, we actually have to change both equations in order to get the opposites we want. For example, if we want to make these the same number but opposite signs, I would think, well, we could make this 10x and this negative 10x, right? That should be pretty easy. Or if we see the 7 and 2, we can make this a negative 14y and make that a positive 14y. Then we have our opposites. Both of those cases are very fine. I'm going to stick with the x's. My goal is to make these a 10x and a negative 10x. And obviously, we're going to have to multiply this by 2 and multiply this by 5. The catch is, remember, you can't just multiply one piece. You have to multiply the whole equation and the whole equation by those numbers. So let me just make a note up here. Up here, we're going to multiply everything by 2. Here, we're going to multiply everything by 5. And we're going to get two new equations. So here's our top equation. It'll be 10x minus 14y equals 10, because I multiplied the top equation by 2. Here's our bottom equation, negative 10x plus 10y equals negative 10, because I multiplied the bottom equation by 5. Now, however, notice we have our opposites, right? That's what step 2 is all about. Like, if you don't have your opposites to start with, you have to create them. So we just created them by multiplying both equations by numbers. I picked the numbers so that these would both be 10 and negative 10. So now let's go ahead and jump to the elimination. Now that we have opposites, we can add these equations together. The x's cancel out. The y's, we get a negative 4y. And the 10's happen to cancel out. That's okay. Don't forget, though, that just means there's a 0 there. So this is our new equation, negative 4y equals 0. Super easy to solve. Divide both sides by negative 4, we get y equals 0. Once you have one solution, you can use it to find the other by plugging it back in. Here we have our first solution, y equals 0. We're going to plug it into the top equation for y. Don't forget, you can plug it into either of these equations, though, it doesn't matter. But I'll plug it in for this y right here. So that's y equals 0, so we have 5x minus 7 times 0 equals 5. Obviously, 7 times 0 just goes away, so we literally get 5x equals 5. Divide both sides by 5, and we get x equals 1. So our solution, x was 1, y was 0. This is about as hard as I can get with the elimination method, which, notice, wasn't that hard. But you have to kind of think up. The whole step was think up, what can I do to these equations to get opposites in x's or opposites in y's? Last example here, we're doing elimination again. Notice this time, if I want to eliminate the x's, I have a 2x and a negative x. I could make this a negative 2x by multiplying it by a 2. I can actually do the same thing with the y. So let's do that here. Let's go ahead and say, notice in this case, we only have to change one equation in order to get our opposites. The top equation can stay. So let me go ahead and rewrite the top equations though, either way, just so we have them both stacked. That's our top equation. Our new bottom equation will become a negative 2x, remember multiplying everything by 2, a plus 2y, and a negative 4. Now, we have opposites, but notice, actually everything's opposites. These are going to cancel out, these are going to cancel out, and these are going to cancel out. What happens when you do that? Well, you get 0 equals 0. Again, what do you think this means? Well, this means there's infinite solutions. If we did this and we got 0 equals 1, then it would be no solutions. So whenever you get these infinite or no solutions, it's actually good news because the problem's over quicker. But don't forget to know what you're looking for. You're looking for things like 0 equals 0, 4 equals 4, that means infinite, or 0 equals 1, 1 equals 2, something not true, that means false. So there you go. Hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.